you go.
You do that on purpose. I know you do.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Somebody take him, please.
And with that, I will leave.
Oh my God. He broke me. Oh, and of course he does it and then hits the live button. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, now I'm leaking. Oh, goodness. Oh. Good morning, everybody. You're probably wondering what Renee said to me, and I don't think I could repeat it without going off in another gale. So I'm going to wait until I collect myself before I tell you. Share what's so funny. Just before we went live, Renee looked at me and picked up the machine to key the cameras, and he says, Sasha, are you ready to kiss hands and shake babies? And I'm just, oh, goodness. Kiss hands and shake babies. Okay. Yeah, it's it's a good way to start the day with a good laugh, but plays hell on the makeup if you bother to wear any. So, oh, goodness. And Maze is in the studio. The tail is wreaking havoc on everything. So he's trying to bring her around. She's dancing. There she is. There's Miss Maze. She's trying to eat everybody today. Oh, good morning. I've got to say hello to a few people. Elizabeth Bradford Beth. Hi. You're at work and it's raining outside. Hi to Renee and everyone. Go look after your patients, and if you have a few minutes, come and join us. And Bet DeLong, hello Bet, and Debbie Pickett. Teresa Cleaver, good morning. And Carol Eves, hello sweetheart. Carol Eves is a dear sweet lady. And Sherry DeGraw, hello. And Iris Rorwick, oh my goodness, everybody's here today. Dee Stratton and Lori Fife, hello sweetie. I miss our summer visits. And Linnell, hello sweetheart. Ramona, did you get a parcel from me? You're supposed to get a parcel from me. And Chris Neese, hello Chris. I hope you're feeling well. And Sylvie Miller, good heavens, everybody's here. And there's Lucy. Hi Lucy. And Louise Long, hello. Kathy Krasowski, how are things in Manitoba? I know you guys had a rough start here a couple weeks ago, or this past week. And who else? Linda Giesbrick, another one of my Winnipeg pals. And Lynn Poynenko, nice to see you too. Poynenko, I can never say that. It is great to see you here too. Oh my goodness. And Carolyn Spondenberg, welcome. Carolyn's joined us for the first time last Saturday, doing the flowers. So welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you with us. And Lisa Schultz, hello. And Karen Ortman, oh my goodness, everybody's here. Oh, I'm so glad you got it. Good. And Donna, you're going to be tired of me by the end of net. Today I thought we would have a little bit of fun. We're just going to do something very relaxing, nothing too stressful. I just thought it would be fun to do something really simple. Something that's not heavily involved, covers a few simple techniques, and something that's easy to customize, whether the color palette, whether it's the style, just something that we can have a lot of fun with. There's Lilibeth Mendoza, and Renee, hello to you too. And Linda Salsini from Northern Michigan, oh my goodness, and Charmaine Bannister from Oregon. And Judy Thacker, you got your pupper picture? Oh, good, thank you. I'm so glad. Everybody is here. My goodness, and Nancy Focardi. Today is net registration. Thanks for the reminder, sweetheart. Jackie Wright and Rory Morgan, oh my goodness. we're going to have fun today. This is not intended to be a difficult piece. This is intended to be fun and easy and just a little cute little shelf sitter. I have to be very careful about how I say that. I messed it up the other day. It was not good. Not good. So the one that we're doing today is called Home Sweet Home Shelf Sitter. I've messed that up a couple of times. And just so you can see what they look like, this is our little chickens. Our little buck-bucks. Renee calls them buck-bucks. So, little chickens. And they are fun to do. They're cute. They just sit on the windowsill. You know, they're just, they're a fun little piece. I'm going to switch to the top down so you can see. So, this is the piece that we're doing, is one of these little chickens. Now, the fun part about this is that you can paint these any color you want. They don't have to be black. I did these ones in black because black is fairly basic. And I just wanted to show off, you know, the lettering and show off the flowers. Honestly, you can do them any way you want. In fact, for today, I base coated one with deep midnight blue and one with warm white. Now, as far as the stencil goes, this one uses the M222, which is a 1/4 inch polka dot. But quite honestly, if you go to your minis, these little minis, there's a 1/4 inch polka dot in there. You can use that. You can use the 1/8 polka dot if you want to. You could use the honeycomb if you want to. You could use that knit stencil if you want to. Or that 1/4 inch check. You can use any kind of small country pattern that you like. It doesn't have to be exactly what I used. You could do it just chicken wire if you want to. It's going to look fine. This is not supposed to be a realistic looking chicken. It's supposed to be a fun chicken. So the idea being that you can use any pattern you want. If you want it to be busy, you can do it. Like, I like the knit. I think the knit would make a fun chicken. And I also like the 1/4 inch check. I think that one would make a fun one. So we're going to play with a bunch of these different stencils to get different looks out of the same basic design. So it doesn't have to be anything over the top. You don't even have to follow this color palette. I just went with a basic one. So we're going to start with a base color, just like that. So you could do it black, you could do it white. I'm kind of partial to the white. I think we're going to have some fun with the white. And I really like this, this midnight blue. This is one of my favorites to work with. So if you're going to base coat it, you're just going to choose the base color, and then you're going to do the stenciling for your background. Now, we have the chickens on the website. They're going to come with the stand, which is the little stand that goes on the back. And then some will come with a heart, little extra bonus heart in it, and some will come with an egg. You know, because I thought an egg would be fun too, so you can do it either way. You can decide to use the heart if you want to or not. It's entirely up to you. But each one of them is going to come with that stand that we have on the back. And it'll also come with either an egg or a heart. So, fun, fun, fun. As I said, today is going to be all about fun. Now, the line drawing for this piece, I have mine already cut out and ready to go. I'm doing the Home Sweet Home. I'm just kind of partial to that one. I just think it's cute. And, but I will have a printable for you this afternoon that has a sunflower and one that has daisies and a variety of different little sayings that you can put on it. So something simple. I also went with a really simple font. I did this one, T's on. I think this one is cute. The egg is an 1.5 inch egg, little wooden egg, about yay big. So the font that I used is called Buttercakes. It's just such a cute font. It just looks like a handwritten font. It's very simple. And I used, you can either use a chalk pencil, like one of the chalk markers. You can use a white, opaque white gel pen, or you can use one of your Posca pens. You can use white for the black or the darker colors, and then you can use black for the lighter colors. So the idea being, we're just going to kick back, relax, and have a little bit of fun with this. Tease On is a favorite. I got a cute, one of the line drawings in the pattern, one of them has a G, eat, and a G, and yet, and it's a play on a maritime expression note here. It says G-Jet. It just means, did you eat yet? But we have a tendency to say it as one word, so it's G-Jet. And here on the East Coast. So I did one with that on it. But yeah, as I said, you can do whatever your little heart desires. So I'm going to start with our little white one. I'm thinking, I don't know, which one should I do? Which one should I do? I love the polka dot. Polka dots and me. I love my polka dots. I'm going to do polka dots on the white one. I'm going to do checks on the blue one. Polka dots. The minis are handy for this little thing because it's a small stencil on a small surface. It's much easier to handle.
Want me to zoom in a little bit more? Or?
Sure, if you can. And before I forget, we do have giveaways today. We have quite a nice giveaway, actually. We've got lots of little painting treats tucked in and drawing treats. So lots of fun stuff in our little giveaways today. We have some goodies from Tombow. We have stuff from DecoArt. And we have, of course, we have brushes from Dynasty. So there's always some nice giveaways. So, oops, somebody wants a honeycomb. I think I'll keep the honeycomb for when I have a different color palette. I like that. Good morning. I'm drinking my tea too. There's Kay and Danita. Hello. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch stencil brush. This is a Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush. My favorite. I love these. And the color I'm going to use on my chicken is going to be a little bit of lamp black. Yes, the little stencils are a set. We also use, if you place orders, we always have a little mini stencil in your order because I like minis, and we have a new one coming up. I've been out of minis for a couple of weeks, so I have a new one coming up. Going to have a nice little summer themed one. Linnell, your family are all headed my way to New Brunswick. Your daughter is building a home. Where are they building? And Linnell, you're sitting with 6 dogs. Oh my goodness. So we're going to use a little bit of lamp black. Now, lamp black on white tends to be a little on the harsh side. So the brush needs to be almost dry. And we're not going to make these dots fully opaque. We're just going to fill them in. But I don't want them solid black. Solid black is harsh. And we want this to be a little on the fun side. So, Drizzly Simcoe, Ontario. Hi, Kathy. Kathy's an old friend. Oh my goodness, Renee got me laughing so hard. He's a brat. Albert County. Good heavens. Every once in a while, he will say something that just sort of shocks me and then gets me laughing. And he got me good today. Terry Zastro. Nice to see you from Pulaski, Tennessee. Nice to have you with us. So I'm going to line up my stencil. Comme ça. I love polka dots. Polka dots, I think, are one of my favorite things. 6 dogs. I'm hoping they're not big dogs. Miss Linnell is no bigger than a minute. So, almost done with the polka dots. I like things with a country theme. I think you guys have already figured that out about me. I do love a country theme. There we go. Now I've got some overlap. It's because I didn't use a big enough brush, or a small enough brush, I should say. And Miss Sandy is here. Hello, my dear. Sandy's one of my besties. Miss Sandy has been so busy between her group and trade shows and seminars. And if you don't follow her, you should, because she's amazing. Now, Sandy has got the link up for the pattern for these chickens in the chat, which is greatly appreciated. So I'm going to reciprocate by saying if you're looking for the stencil brush that I'm using currently, which is this one here, it's the 1/2 inch Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush. If you need one, go and check out Sandy's website. Sandy's got them on her website. I don't have room to stock all the stuff that I use, so Miss Sandy has got them on hers, and I do believe she has a coupon code for them, so if she's got a second, she can fire that up there. That would be cool. I put up a post this morning in reference to creativity, and I saw a name pop up in the comments, and she's a favorite of mine. I absolutely love her folk artwork. It's just incredible. Is Penny Grotz. If you can go and check her out, her work is just flippin' amazing. Like, flippin' amazing. She does sculptures with fabric and a bunch of other things, and she just blows my mind every single time she puts out something new. She is incredible. So here is the 1/4 inch check. Now, whenever I'm doing something like this, I always make sure that the stencil goes off the surface a little bit, simply because it provides you with the illusion that there's continuity, that it's like a piece of fabric where the pattern continues even after it's left. So I'm going to put a stencil, tape that down. I'm going to switch stencil brushes because I'm going to go to a lighter color. Repeat her name, Penny Grotz. Grotz. She is flipping amazing, and I'm going to pull up her website here because she is so worth, it is so worth checking out her website. Penny's website is Folk Art by PennyBigCartel.com. She has a piece up here. I'll tell you one of the things. I love this woman's work. I've got to show you something. She just recently had a pop-up market on her pop-up sale on her website. This is her work. This is her zombie bunny. Absolutely insanely talented. Check this out. This is her zombie bunny. She's 13 inches tall. Beautiful sculpture. These are all signed and numbered. They're incredible. Love that. Look at this little detail around her neck. There's a little skull necklace. How much do I love this? So a zombie bunny. This woman's work is amazing. So if you get a few minutes, go and check out her site. And in just a second, I will give you the website again. Her website is folkartbypenny.bigcartel.com. Her stuff is just amazing. No, it had already sold, Deanna, or I would have. I got in too late But oh my goodness, her work is beautiful. She does the most incredible sculptures. If you're a dog lover, she does all sorts of fun things like this. Her work is just amazing. Check out this Frankenstein. Her work is beautiful. The quality of her work is beautiful. So if you get a chance, go and check out her website. She is just amazing. Her Facebook page is just to die for. Absolutely love her stuff. So I'm going to grab, okay, I'm going to do the blue one. So I'm going to use cobblestone. I don't want a really harsh contrast. So, and we're going to use, I love this check stencil. This mini check stencil is just fun. I don't want these perfect by any means because I'm going to distress them anyway. So I'm just going to very quickly. I don't want them opaque, don't want them perfect. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. Now, I have a collection of chickens and roosters. I love chickens and I love roosters. Maybe not the one that Denise, Diane's got, but one of the girls on here has got a neighbor with a rooster that likes to sing the song of his people at all hours of the day and night. So, love it. But yes, I have like a minor obsession with chickens and roosters. I have a variety of them. I have one of my favorite pieces, though. I have a big Mexican rooster. He's about 2 feet tall. Big ceramic rooster. I bought him when I was in Cozumel. He was sitting in a shop. It was like a kitchen shop. And I just fell in love with him. I thought he was beautiful. So I had to have him. So I bought the rooster. Getting him home was another thing because he's ceramic. And then I was terrified to put him in my suitcase. But he managed to get home in one piece, not even a chip. So that colored me happy. So I have this beautiful, big, tall ceramic rooster. I have wrought iron roosters, cast iron roosters, and chickens. Candle holders, lanterns. I even have a weather vane that stands in the middle of my dining room table. Big tin rooster. And I love it. So yes, I can have my neighbor's dog. Yeah, Donna has the rooster that likes to talk to everybody. So we have, like, how fun is this, really? Just super simple, so much fun, right? So I'm going to dry these really well, and then we're going to sand them. Because we want to distress these chickens. It's the only time you really want distressed chickens. Roosters in Hawaii. Yep. We were talking about roosters the other day. Some people have really great experiences with roosters. I love them personally. Chickens, not so much. Chickens are spiteful little creatures, but the roosters, we always had little banties, little bantam roosters. And they were always so much fun and very cute. But I really love those great big tall ones with the big showy feathers, and those are beautiful. So, I'm going to break out sander. I love these. These are, I think, probably my favorites. These are actually buffing and nail files, and they're super smooth. And they're really great for this type of work because they don't cut into the surface heavily, but they do cut into paint. Oh, metal and stone chickens and roosters. Oh, awesome. Banties are so cute, though. So we're going to sand this. I'm going to use the coarser side of my little sander. And I'm going to, I like to wear the edges down like that. See, expose the wood. You'll see why in a little bit. And I like lots of it. If I distress the way I like it, It's a lot. A little north of Tucson, Arizona. It's beautiful here today. The rain comes and goes, unfortunately, but I don't know what the temperature is. It's a little cool here in the morning still. It is 13 degrees Celsius. So probably mid-50s, I would say. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about the head because we're going to do a little bit of painting there. But I like distressing my edges quite a bit. That's just a me thing. And then I'm going to sand to distress all of those little squares. I love this part. Grab a piece of shop towel so I can wipe this down, take the dust off. The other thing I do when I'm base coating something like this is I just slap the paint on every which way. I don't care if there's brush marks. The brush marks actually help create some interesting textures. So I don't really worry about the brush marks. And it makes for some fun textures and kind of makes the antiquing land a little differently. So that is our blue one. Let's distress our white chicken. See, this one we've got a little bit of, I love it. This is what I said. I'm going to sand a lot of that off because I like it that way. This is just fun to do. Somebody said, what's for dinner tonight? What's for dinner tonight? We are having chicken burgers. They're breaded chicken breasts with all the usual burger trimmings. So those are going to be done in the oven. So they're nice and crisp. And nice fresh buns. The warmer weather is here. I've been on the barbecue ever since it stopped raining the other day. Ugh, even in the low 90s, we still have, yes, of course we're having chicken. We still have frost at night, so we're on the East Coast. They would look cute as fridge magnets, wouldn't they? You know what would be really cute? If you put, you know, a little shelf on it. You know, you could put a little egg timer sitting on it. It would be cute. Back in the day, we had a little egg timer with the, you know, the sand in it, like an hourglass. We had a wee little one for doing eggs. Actually, I think I still have that. I think it's in my china cabinet. My mother had it since the early 50s. There we go. So look at our chicken. So it's all distressed, both of them. So we're going to use a little bit of country red and a little bit of marigold. A little bit of country red and a little bit of marigold. That's not marigold. But this is. Little bit of marigold. Now, like I said, you can do black backgrounds, you can do white backgrounds. If you wanted to do a red background with, you know, lots of... Linda, I'm on the website. You need to tell Deb she needs to cut some flat chicken egg services. Linda, I have a box full coming as we speak. Just saying. Just saying. We have a box full coming. I'm having entirely too much fun. Oh, wouldn't that be cute? Little nest at the bottom. Oh, you could do so much with this. This is just literally a substrate for whatever you wanted to do. I just did some simple little stroke flowers because I thought that those types of flowers are always popular. They're fun to do. They're easy to paint. So there's 100 different things you could do. Oodles of them. So I'm going to grab, let's see what we got here. I've got a number 5 round. And I rarely trace a line drawing on for this part, mainly because I've done this so many times already. There we go. This is a comb, and this is the wattle. And set that aside. Whew. You could do these chickens in any color you wanted. You want to do something contemporary, paint them bright pink to match kitchen or whatever. Or all white, or just a solid color without a stencil, they'd look great too. Et voila. I'm a big fan of chickens. I just think they're fun. There's something homey about having a chicken. What is this, Judy? Oh, yeah, I am feeling a whole lot better. Judy, thank you. It's amazing how quickly you feel better when you're getting the right treatment. And yes, I am feeling much better. I am sleeping a lot better. I'm just doing better. Hi, Jess. You're cutting trees. Oh, yes. Had to come see the chickens. Good heavens. Kara Jones. That's okay, honey. Better late than never. Janet Craig. Hello. These are just fun to paint. You ever have an afternoon you just don't want to do anything that's too difficult? And I like things that are I like this little country chicken. I think he's fun. Tea's on. I was trying to think of little things, little sayings to write on these, but I thought of one, take it or leave it, would be a good thing. Like dinner's ready. Little things. I think actually, something positive, a little positive note, a little fun saying. That's why I used the G-Jet thing. It's a typical saying here. When you walk into a maritimer's house, one of the first things they'll ask you is G-Jet? It's a thing here, and one of the things they want to do the minute you walk into their home is they offer you coffee or tea or G-Jet. Because God forbid a guest should go hungry. Carrie Henderson has 28 hens and 1 rooster, a black, and when the sun hits him, his feathers turn green and purple. Ooh, pretty. Roosters have always been my favorite. I like the way they strut around the yard. Pretty full of themselves, the lot of them. My dad's side of the family raised horses, and my mother's side of the family raised dairy cattle. I have one uncle that had just a do-everything farm. They farmed. They didn't have a specific thing. They farmed. And I always found it funny that every time I went to his place, there was always chickens running loose in the yard, geese running loose, and half of them, it just seemed like a zoo most of the time, and it was so much fun. The only things that were in pens were the pigs, and most of the cattle roamed around and did whatever they wanted, and it was just a great place to spend a summer when you were a kid. Oh, goodness. Hot flash. Oh, Sue. Nice. I would like that. I have a dinner bell in my kitchen with a rooster on it. And I have a wrought iron rooster in the entryway with it's a lantern, and it stands probably about 10-12 inches tall. And then I have the matching chicken, the little hen, that sits next with it. I love that. And then I have another one, nice big rooster, but another one about a foot tall. It stands on the entryway shelf. And I have a huge doorstop. It's about 24 inches tall, big 2-foot cast iron rooster. I love them. So yeah, I have roosters everywhere. And I have a glass chicken and my big rooster from Mexico. I have a rooster from Portugal too. So, make sure these are good and dry. Well, Jessica, you're in Maine, so whatever you're getting, we're getting. So, yeah, we've got the sunshine for now, but it's supposed to rain later today, too. So, I'm going to just put another coat of that yellow on my chickens because they didn't cover very well. It's yellow. I should have put a bit of white down, is what I should have done. So, I love that. How fun are these? Fluffy Butt Hut, that's a hoot. Fluffy Butt Hut, I love it. These chickens are too cute. Like I said, I'm going to have a printable available for you later this afternoon with some other flowers, in case you're not really keen on on these stroke flowers. I've got daisies and sunflowers on the next one. Alrighty. So I'm going to grab my sander again, and I'm just going to gently sand the edges of this, just a little. I just wanted to stress that a little bit, not too much, but enough. There we go. Now do the same to this one. And then we are ready to start doing some fun details on our chickens. So one of the first things that I like doing to my chickens is you've got to age this a little bit. So we're going to use that soft black. That's not asphaltum. This is asphaltum. A little bit of asphaltum on our palette. Whew. I am warm today. Rise and shine, yes. Actually, I think that's what's on our on the printable is rise and shine. We've got a few sayings on there. So the printable is going to be 2 pages. Of course, we're going to have the chickens reversed so that you can do them either way. And then we'll have a page that is just for fonts and sayings. So I'm going to use a little bit of asphaltum on a high-tech applicator. And I'm going to age the edges of my chicken. I like what asphaltum does for these colors, but I also like what it does for that distressed edge. It gets a little darker. I love it. And then I'm going to put a little of this over top of that red too. Up onto the head. I want this chicken to look old. It's been around for a while. And we're going to go right to the edges. I love this. This is fun to me. Just sitting and aging things, and then you're going to take a little of that asphaltum, you're going to rub it everywhere, like that. I want this guy to look a little beat up, a little distressed, and not so neat and tidy and perfect, because, you know, perfection is overrated. 29? That's not fair, Karen. It's 29 degrees in Elk Point, and it's 13 here. That's not fair. Mind you, 29's a bit warm. Just a bit warm. Okay, so, look at that. Oh, I love it. The wood pieces, I have them on my website, if you're looking for the chicken. We're going to have pigs for next week. Going to have a pig for next week. It will be a video. It won't be live because I am teaching next weekend. Not next weekend. Yes, next weekend, the 10th. 10th and 11th. I am teaching a Zoom class as the featured teacher for the British Association for Decorative and Folk Arts. And so I'm teaching a class for them next Saturday and Sunday. I am beside myself excited. I just stopped and think for a minute, and I can't believe that that's going to be. You know, I send you some if you could. Yeah, there's no. I'm not a spring chicken either. Look at how beat up he's looking. I love it. Now, this is why I like slapping my paint on, and I like retaining some of the brush marks, because look at the texture it creates. I'm so excited. I'm teaching on Mother's Day. Yes, I am. And I'm teaching to some amazing women in the UK. It's an honor, actually. I'm quite honored that they asked me to teach. So look at my chicken. She's looking. I'm so glad he's home. I'm so glad he's home. There we go. Look at that. I love that. So look at our two chickens. We have two heavily distressed chickens. That doesn't mean that our chickens are not going to have... It's all over the UK. Yes. With the chick here. I love it. So we're going to add a few little details to our chicken. So we're going to add some shading to the wattle and the comb. And we're going to do that with a little bit of soft black. Oops, good grief. And I'm using a 3/8 angled shader. That's a small angled shader. If you're more comfortable with something smaller or larger, by all means use it. This just for me, I find this is the ideal size. So we're going to put a shadow at the base of the comb where it joins the head, like so. Look at that. And along the back of each of these, just a little float like that. It looks very narrow under this light. It really isn't. There we go. Just need to soften it a little. And then there is a little float here on the wattle and along the bottom. And up underneath the chin, little float of soft black. Nothing fancy, doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to give that wattle a little bit of shape. To me, it's like an inverted heart. And we'll do the same thing to this little guy over here. Now, the nice part about working on a distressed piece is that you don't have to worry too much about whether or not floats are utterly perfect. Because you're not working on a perfect surface, you're not working on your goal is not to make a perfect surface. Your goal is to make an aged looking surface. And so that's my attitude towards. This is one of the reasons I antiqued it first. So look at that. Love it. We are going to put a little highlight on the comb and the wattle. I'm going to use, if I can find it, a little bit of tea berry. Just a little dot of tea berry. Don't need much. I managed to get paint on my face. Hi, Vicky. Good afternoon. Good God. There we go. So a little bit of tea berry. You don't want it full strength because you don't want this glaring at you, but just a little highlight. Just a subtle one right on the edge of the comb. I'm going to pull it up to the camera so you can see that a little clearer. Just a little one. And same here, just a little highlight. Blend it out. It doesn't need to be much. Just like that. Keep it simple. It's just enough to make it stand out a little bit. There's Elka. Hello. I'm glad you like the chickens. Chickens are fun. Now, I've got a little bit of warm white. I'm going to just give a little highlight to that beak. Just a little one. Don't need much. And you don't need it full strength. We just want to match the strength of the highlight that's on the comb and the wattle. So it doesn't need to be much. Just a little one. Look at that. So at this point, we are ready to trace and transfer our line drawings to our chickens. Just going to make sure everything is good and dry. Hi, Cindy. And Gail Jensen, hello. And Carol Colbert. Time for KFC. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be such a good time. Last year when they contacted me to ask if I would like to do it, I was just thrilled. So I've been really looking forward to it. Hi, Norma. Hello. Better late than never, my dear. I'm going to have a whole clutch of chickens by the time this day is over. Now, the little flower that I put on this is, it's just a little 5-petal flower. I do them with simple strokes. because that just works. So I just tape mine in place. Because I'm working on a lighter surface, I'm going to use a darker piece of graphite. I'm going to make sure that I've got the right side. I traced a whole piece the other day without the graphite paper being in the wrong place. It was upside down. So I had a perfectly good copy on the back of the paper. So, the fun part about doing something like this is that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can change up the color palette if you want to. You can, which is what I'm going to do with this one, on this lighter color, because I don't think the white flowers will stand out very well. There we go. So the nice part about this type of flower is that you really don't have to worry too much about whether or not you get the tracing absolutely perfect, because the flowers themselves are intended to be very simple and imperfect. So this one says Home Sweet Home. Oops. And my Home Sweet Home kind of overlapped my flowers a bit, makes the home hard to read. So I'm going to actually move mine a little up and over. Simple is often the best. So I'm just going to quickly check my, oh my good Lord. Well, close enough. I'm going to move my lettering over and up a bit so that I can trace that on. Oops. I like this font because it has a handwritten appeal. And for a lot of country themes, I think that works better than a really fancy, elegant looking font. Something that's heavily designed. I think sometimes that the simplest fonts actually work the best, especially for country themed things like this. And then they're not overthought, they're not overworked. Close is close enough. There we go. Now we've got T's on. I'm going to put that right about there. And I didn't print one off that it's reversed, so I'm going to show you a trick. So if I take my phone and I go to something like a document like this, and I start a new document that's blank, I get a white page. So because it's white, it shows through a little bit. So you can just very quickly, you can do this on an iPad too if you have one, but if you're at a pinch and you need to do something reversed really quickly, this is an easy way to do it. I just need a general outline, so I'm not too worried about the details because we're going to paint most of those in. So, look at this. This is just such a fast and easy way to do that outline. So that's how easy it is. Just open up at like your little notepad, start a new document, and voila, Bob's your uncle, Sally's your aunt, you've got your line drawing done. So I can position that, comme ça, take my white graphite, and look at this. We just need a general outline of this flower. It doesn't have to be perfect because most of it is going to be stroked in. And as for the leaves, the general shape is fine because we're going to do something similar for those. And this is just such an easy way to make a tracing. The nice part is that you can correct things. So if there's something that you want to change, say you're not happy with the little leaf that's coming off, you can make a new leaf. You can make a whole new design if you want to. Et voila. So I think, look at that. Bob's your uncle. Sally's your aunt. Ugh, raining. My microphone? No, it's in the same spot it always is. A Rhode Island red. The problem with chickens is that they can quite literally become your family. Now, I know somebody had messaged me the other day saying, please tell me there's an apostrophe. There is, it's right there. It's just faint for some other reason. Unknown reason. Oh, I dropped my graphite. Now, see, I could see this stencil being used for this chicken too, because this looks like feathers. I think that would be fun too. Little tips, little problem solves. I put a post up about creativity this morning. Thanks everybody for your comments. That was appreciated. And the did you know for today is about Liberty leading the people. It's such a stunning painting. And such a incredible piece of work given its history. So if you get a chance to read the Did You Know today, it is a really interesting piece. Eugene Delacroix is the artist. Painting was done at around 1830, shortly thereafter, around the time of the French Revolution. It was just an amazing piece of artwork. It was literally hidden from the world, those that were loyal to the king at the time. And then it made its way after the revolution in 1832 to the Louvre, and that's where it has been ever since. But it's an extraordinary piece of work. If you get an opportunity to see it, it is amazing. And that is what our Did You Know for today was about. So we're going to do a little shading in and around the line drawing. It's very hard to see this one, but we'll make do. I'm going to use my 3/8 angle and a little bit of thin asphaltum. I don't want a ton of it, but I like to just put a little shadow around the floral just to give it a little extra depth. And the nice part is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Because it's already distressed. So we're just going to put a little bit in there, just a little shadow, just to give the floral a little bit of support, I think is the best term I can use. It just keeps it from looking flat, like it's stuck on there. It gives it some elevation. Just make sure you thin out your asphaltum a little bit so that you get some nice shape. There we go. Look at that. And you can do the same thing for the lettering. You're going to shade into the lettering on the right side. It just gives everything a little lift so that it doesn't look so flat. I'm doing that with asphaltum as well. I've seen so many things like this at various markets and shows and things like that, that I have a tendency to look at them and think, there's so many designers out there that spend so much time and hard work and effort to put these pieces together and then put them up at shows. And there's little things that they can do to speed up that process. And then to make it look like it's been, that they spend hours painting it. And then there's ways that you can simplify all of that so that it speeds up the process. It's always easier to paint 10 of something than it is to paint just one, because you're just doing the same thing one after the other. So something like this, painting multiples of this, are really, really easy. Because you can change them up. You're not going to get bored if you're doing polka dots on this one and checks on that one, and maybe these curly cues on one. Or I think this would be a hoot to do one that looks like he's knitted. I think it would just be awesome to use that knit stencil, that knit mini. I think it'd be freaking fantastic. I think it would be so stinking cute. So I've got Home Sweet Home and I've got tees on. For this one, I'm going to use a little bit of lamp black. I want a little darker shadow because we're working on such a dark surface, but I am going to thin out that black a little. I don't want it full strength. And I just want a little shadow back here. Look at this. It doesn't have to be harsh, doesn't have to be strong, but enough that it lifts this forward. And don't forget, we're doing this before the painting, so it doesn't matter if some of that black gets up on your line drawing. Don't panic if it does. Just like that. I know you can hardly see that, but there it is, just in and around that line drawing. I know it's hard to see this on camera a lot of the time. And you're going to do the same thing for the lettering. You might see this a bit better on this one. So, little floats, just to lift up that line drawing, all that lettering, a little bit. I like a little shadow after that apostrophe too. It has to be there. Here we go. How cute are these? I love doing these. So fun. My daughter wanted to get chickens and keep them at your house using... Oh my God. I can't imagine that, quite honestly. So I've got a rigger, and we're going to use a little bit of lush green. We're going to use a little bit of lush green, and we're going to paint our leaves. You could use avocado toast, you could use antique green, you can use whatever you want. Hey, Sheila. I love leaves. So one coat of lush green on these leaves. The land drawing is so faint I can barely see where the... There they are. Okay. I can barely see where the leaves were. There we go. So I'm just using a rigger to quickly base coat these leaves. I love projects like this. They're simple, but they're cathartic. You can sit, if you ever have one of those times where you just, just can't seem to get the oomph to paint something, a project like this is the perfect solution because it's simple. It doesn't require you to use a ton of creativity. It doesn't require you to use a ton of, exceptional skills. It's very forgiving. It has a high level of success because it's simplistic. It's not, a really super challenging piece. I think a lot of the time when our creativity, when we're kind of stuck, we have this illusion that we should be doing something like over the top. And then we end up disappointing ourselves or we end up frustrated. And a lot of that can be avoided. We just have to do things a little simpler. And so that's when I turn to doing something simple. These little, I call them tchotchkes, little things that you can sit up on a shelf, make for friends, make for gifts. If you're a crafter, if you do a lot of craft shows and markets and things like that, this type of thing does very well. Because it's something that can be tucked up on a shelf or it can be tucked up on a window ledge. And the big selling point is to use trending colors or simple color palettes and then use a popular expression on them. I've seen some that were fairly X-rated and I thought they were hilarious. Because for some people that's cathartic, and that's okay. I tend to like things with more of a homey or a down-home vibe to it. So I tend to gravitate towards things like welcome home or, come in, put your feet up, things like that. Tease on. I tend to gravitate to those little welcoming things. But that's me. So if you've got a saying that you really want that you wouldn't necessarily want everybody on earth, that's fine, use it. I've seen some that are absolutely hilarious. I would probably never do it in my own home, but I think they're hilarious. So some of them are a bit too colorful for me. That's okay. So we're dry. Look at this, we're dry. Time to dry green. Coffee's on, tea's on. The older I get, the faster time flies. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the time we are... Hi, Bonnie. You should Stormy Mommy. Patrick, we use the term meme. Yep, meme. Henry. Banties are so stinking cute. Did you find hard time with that one, Heidi? That's too funny. These are such fun. And again, we're going back to like very base a little bit. Scrambled or fried? I'm glad I could make you laugh. I was thinking about you the other day, Allison. Heidi. I found a picture of us at a convention, that's why. So we're going to shade and highlight these little leaves, but very simply. We're not going to do... Yep, Mimere is the one we use here. So I'm going to use a little bit of black green. These leaves are going to be super simple. We are not going to worry about center veins. We are just going to give them a little bit of shape and a little definition, and that is it. We are not going to overthink these by any stretch. I'm using a little bit of black green for the shading. And if you've painted with me before, you know where I'm putting it. I make a little U-shape or V-shaped float at the base of the leaf where it joins the stem. Tuck it in, pull it up to the sides. Easy peasy. Use your favorite angle or flat. If you shade with a flat, then by all means. But it is a U-shaped float up underneath the flower, down the sides, so that the very base of the leaf is darker green. Oof. Messed that one up. There we go. And, oops, almost forgot this wee little leaf over here underneath. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing to all of the ones on our little white chicken here. So again, these floats don't have to be perfect. We're just getting a little bit of a shadow under there. Did I read that right? Robin Storm, you're going to be a great grandmother? Good for you. I absolutely love these chickens. Now, when it comes to the color of the flowers on this piece, honestly, you can do any color you want. Wow, goodness. I missed a leaf. I knew it was bound to happen. I couldn't see the line drawing. There we go. So we've got, you guys have grandchildren. I have a grand puppy. Margarita. Margarita green. I love this green. I like matcha green. I like citron green. I like all of these high yellow greens. I love that tone. You have a grand kitty. Lori Fife, you and I together, right? You have a grand kitty. I have a grand puppy. So, going to shade that little leaf that I missed. Right there. Little U-shaped float. We're going to put a highlight just out on the tip of these leaves with that margarita. And I love this color for highlighting these leaves. And this is why. It's just transparent enough that it floats really nicely, but it gives these leaves a little brightness. Highlights the tip of that leaf very nicely. Look at that. And it's such a super simple way to get a really nice, bright highlight at the tip of a leaf without overthinking it. I agree, Brenda. Four-legged grands are fabulous. So I've got highlights on those leaves. And let's put them on these ones. Oh goodness, I got way too much brush. Way too much paint in my brush. So I got, thank goodness I have friends who enable my creative whims. Deb made me, I wanted Christmas ornaments a few years ago, pigs, sheep, chickens, and she made me a set of ornaments. And then the other day, I was playing with said sheep, chickens, and pigs, and this is how I got to this. The only problem was the sheep and the pigs had an opening at the feet and the stand wouldn't fit, so I give her a call and she decided to make me some chickens and sheeps. So I've got pigs and sheep coming, as well as more chickens. So I just got very excited. So it's, it's terrible when you have friends that can accommodate you that way. And then I contacted another friend who does some stuff for me from time to time, and I got her to make me some more bees and another thing. And yeah, I enabled you this week, Sheila. Yes, I did. A little bit. Did you like your scissors? I couldn't remember if I had sent you a pair before, but I thought you needed another pair, regardless. So we've got our highlights in. What is this? I have to put my painting studio in order. I have paint bottles everywhere. So we've got highlights on our leaves. I love this. I just think it's so pretty. So we're going to start with our flowers. And we're going to need a small round. I'm using a number 4. And we're going to need some warm white. Austin, Texas. Oh my stars. You know, the sashiko. Oh, I'm glad you like the scissors. I have a new stencil line on my, if you're into embroidery, I'm planning on using them for painting, but if you're into embroidery, there's a style of embroidery called sashiko. It's a Japanese style. I sent Sheila some goodies this week because she deserved a little just because. And I sent her a set of sashiko stencils so that she could try it out. And unfortunately, I think I sent her down another rabbit hole. Right now, she's thanking me. I'll let you know if she ever forgives me in a few months. So we're going to work with a small round. This is a number 4, and we're going to do these simple little 5-petal flowers. And these ones are so easy. Each of the petals is 3 comma strokes. 1 to the left, 1 to the right, and 1 straight down, like a teardrop. So, 1 to the left, 1 to the right, and 1 straight down. So those 3 little strokes form the petals for our little flower. Just like this. Again, don't worry about getting them perfectly opaque. It doesn't matter. Oh. Who has to sleep anyway, right? Exactly. So, 3 strokes, like so. I like these. Do you see how the strokes form the texture in the petals? Super easy. So don't beat yourself up if they're not perfect. So this little one here is underneath this one, so I'm going to do this little one first. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, Messed that one up. Super easy. And then this one, you're going to apply a little more pressure because these flowers are bigger. This one is, and it overlaps the other two. So a little more pressure on that brush to get a bigger petal. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I like how these petals are a little rough. They're not perfect. Super simple. I'm going to do the same to this one with a twist. I'm going to use that same number 4 and the warm white, but we're going to pick up a little bit of, what color should we use? I'm going to use a little bit of country red. Have fun with your grand boy. Take care, sweetie. So I've got country red on my palette. I'm going to pick up lots of warm white, and I'm going to tip into that country red, and I'm going to tap it on my surface. And this is how I'm going to do it. So I've got country red on the tip. I love this. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. A little more country red. So there's our little, so a little country red on that, just at the tip of the brush. Tap it. Come down and do the smallest one. Again, whoop. I picked up more warm white. A little bit. I'm going to rinse my brush. Pick up a little warm white and a little country red, so it's just a little bit on the tip of the brush. And you're going to tap on the palette. All that does is just get those paints blended together. Just a little tap on the palette. So that when you come down here, and we're going to comma stroke, and then one stroke down the middle, comma stroke, just like that. So if you wanted to use any color combination, a little bit of pink, or perhaps, I know, a blue, whatever you want to do. These are just fun to do. So the center of the flower, we're going to just take a little bit of warm white and I'm just tapping it in just to make a rough center. Just until it meets the bottom of those petals. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Super easy. I'm going to do the same to this. A little bit. Now, we're going to use a yellow in the middle. I want the yellow to really stand out, so I put a little white down so that it pops out of there. Purple would be pretty too, absolutely. It's half the fun of doing things like this is that you're not obligated to do any specific color palette. You can customize this to suit yourself. an easy way to do it. So I'm using a little bit of baby duck. It's my new favorite yellow. That and Sunny Day, I think, are my two favorite yellows. So I'm going to make sure this is good and dry. Stinking cute. Yes, they are, Judy. I love them that way. There we go. Little bit of baby duck in the center. Again, I'm just sort of stippling it in. I'm not making a perfect circle. I'm just putting some yellow in. And I'm going to do the same to these little guys here. Love this sunny yellow. It's so pretty. Baby duck. It's the perfect name for this color. We had a traffic jam in the village today. Every morning. There's Linda. Hello from Winnipeg. Bye, Robin. Bye, Patrick. Look at that. So fun. So I'm going to dry that really well so that they're not sticky, because I'm just that lucky that I would put my hand in it. Here we go. La, 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 la. I'm trying to put some paint away while I'm thinking about it. I'll keep that out. And the baby duck can give it away. And the winter red. And the marigolds. Oh, okay. We're done there. And I'll put these. Good heavens. There we go. Okay, I'm down to 2 bottles of paint on my table. That's nice. So I'm going to use a little bit of tea berry. The chickens are fun. A little bit of tea berry. I really love this color. And I'm going to use that to shade the, oh goodness, a little too much paint on my brush here. To shade the bottom of my centers. Just gives you that nice little orangey tone at the bottom. There we go. Simple little float. I like this because it gives it a little bit of texture. That's why I stip it. And I'm going to use a little bit of that tea berry to shade the leaves on our white flowers. And it's just a little float right at the base of the leaf. Base of the leaf. Funny ears. The base of the petals where it joins at the center. Just want a little color there. Just a little. You can tuck a little of that in. And it doesn't matter if you notice there's some of the blue showing through on from the background. And that's okay. Hi, baby. There's Maze. Miss Maze. Oh, thank you. Leaving bits and pieces of myself all over the place. Maze stole my heart the other day. Literally. Took it right off the table. So, little float of that color at the base of the petals where it joins at the center. Just gives these flowers a nice little glow around the middle. Here, Debbie Easton says, hi, Mace. Cute little flower. Now, I'm going to do something similar to these ones. I'm going to use a little bit of country red, though. I already have some. Just a darker red. Just at the base of the flower. It's just going to help define the center a little more. Just give it a little extra. Little float. We used country red to do the petals, so we're going to use country red to shade them. Remember, we've got all that white in there, so I'm going to bring that country red in. Look what it does for the center of that flower. Trying to pull yourself away. That little float does wonders for each of these petals. Look at this. So it defines the center of that flower beautifully, and it works well with this petal because we've used that color in the petals. It's just predominantly white, so it makes the center of this flower stand out beautifully and makes our petals look nice. Little float, country red, on the petals, around the center, comme ça. Easy peasy, right? And you can use a little of that red to shade the edges of these petals as well, where they overlap, if you need a little extra depth. And you can shade underneath where they overlap, like so. So it just helps you define these without being a really strong shadow. It is Maze, Miss Maze. So we're going to put a little bit of a shadow on the bottom of these flowers, on the centers. Very little bit of asphaltum. Thin it out. We don't want it full strength. We just want to define that a little bit, make it look a little rounder. Here we go. Just gives that center a little more height. There we are. And I'm going to grab my white gel pen. I can find it. Goodness. I finally got the white pens and the black pens back in stock, thank heavens. So I've got two. I've got my black gel pen and my white gel pen. I like my white one. This is a brand new one, so I'm not even sure if it's going to work perfectly or not. There it goes. So I'm going to dry this really well. Mace likes to come and help me. She'll come downstairs, and then she did. I had one of these little wooden hearts sitting on my painting table the other day, and she came down and she literally walked up, snagged it, and took off with it. So I'm going to use that white gel pen because I like my white gel pens. And of course it doesn't want to work today. There we go. So I'm just going to put a little white scribbly line around the outside edge of my petals with a white gel pen. And all this really does is just give the flowers a little definition. Makes them not so perfect. I like imperfections. Imperfections are fun. And it softens the look of the flowers. They just look fun. Good morning from Eric. I'm glad you like the little chickens. And these little flowers are meant to be simple. Do the same thing with your red ones here. You're going to go around the outside edge. Now, I'm using a white gel pen. You could use a liner brush, a little bit of white paint if you want to. If you don't have a white gel pen, a little paint will work just as well. But the thing is, make it squiggly. Make it imperfect. If they jump skip, that's okay. Don't worry. It's half the fun. They're meant to look simple and fun. Look how cool that is. I love that. So we've got the little white outline. Look at this. Look how fun that is. Oh, Maze has her own blankie. A little black and white buffalo check blanket. And you should see her walking around the house with it. It's hilarious. So I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to use a black gel pen to add a few little details to these flowers as well. And then we're going to use a brush to do some details to the leaves. So around the center of the flower, I like to do this. It's a scribbly outline on the petals, off the petals, on the center, off the center. It's just a squiggly little outline around the center of the flower with the black gel pen. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all cost. See? Scribbly. And then on each of the petals, I draw a little center line and 2 or 3 little lines. Just like that. Again, neatness doesn't count. It just adds a little texture towards the center and on the petals. Keeps things interesting. And if you want, you can use the black to go around the petals again. That's entirely up to you. I am a fan. I love the squiggly look. It just adds more to the textures of these petals and these flowers. If you look at the way the line drawing goes, the way I've drawn the flowers, that's how they look. I like the little squiggly lines. It's another reason why I use this ultra fine, this 0.38, because I like that fine line. And I'm going to do the same thing to these red ones. Again, keep it simple. This is just cathartic and relaxing, and they make such cute gifts. Things like this, I would make like a little honey I'm home. Can you imagine? Do a little chicken. What's that? Yes. 0.38. They're very, very fine. You can actually get this brand of pen in a 0.28. Yes, they are the Uniball black gel pens. You can get them in a 0.28, but I find they're a little too sharp. So I like the 0.38. I like the details I can get with them. I think they just work really, really well. So, uber simple. So I've got all my little details drawn in. So I'm going to use my my rigger and a little bit of asphaltum. Just going to take a little bit. And at the bottom of the flower, we're going to make some teeny tiny little dip dots on the petal, off the petal, onto the center, like so. Little dots of asphaltum. They don't have to be uniform. They can be any size. They can be random and imperfect. These little flowers are meant to be imperfect and simple and fun. I like things when they're like this. This is just relax and play with them a little bit. And then you're going to use warm white. They're on my website, Dorothy. I ordered them in from Japan. So I do carry them on my website. They're under tools and supplies. And I currently have lots in stock. So, dip dots in white. Look how fun that is. So, I'm going to dry this really well so that I don't mess up my dip dots, because I'm gifted that way. My heat gun is about to give up the ghost, I think. I've worn it out. So, what we need now is a good liner brush. I'm going to use my 5/0 extra long detail liner. And we're going to use a little bit of lush green, or black green, I should say. A little bit of black green. Okay, Libby, when I use a gel pen, I usually seal everything afterwards before I varnish. So I use a spray. I prefer to use a good quality one, and the one I recommend is Decorative matte spray. But any setting spray or fixative will work just fine. It's just my personal preference is the matte spray. So I've got on my palette a little bit of black green, and I've got a little bit of margarita. I'm going to use a little bit of black green first. I'm going to thin it out, a little bit of water or a little bit of Josonia. And we're going to paint in those little vines and tendrils with a little bit of that black green. And the stems, of course, for those, oops, for those little leaves. And then, Debbie, no, I don't think anyone has heard from Deb Bloomfield. So I've got a little bit of margarita. I'm going to add a little bit of warm white to that, just to make it a little bit more opaque. This is my favorite part. So we've got all of these wonderful little leaves and vines. And I like to put those same squiggly lines that I use around everything else, I like to do with my leaves. So the leaves are not perfect. I like to do this little gentle outline. You see how that looks? Toward the light, yes, Sandy? Yeah, the pattern on the website, Toward the Light. I will get that fixed. $425. No, it's $4.25. Hang on a second. Oh my goodness. $425 a bit steep for e-packet. That's almost hilarious. I fix. You think? It's It's most definitely an oops. The marvelous thing about tech is that I can literally do edits on my website from my from my phone. Yes. Yeah, on sale, no less, for its bargain. Oh, my stars. That's hilarious. Yeah, it was supposed to be on sale for $4.25. There you go. Fixed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a bargain, I'd say. That's hilarious. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way. $425. Too funny. So I'm using that little bit of margarita to just use that scribbly outline on the edge of those leaves. I like the softness that this gives things. That it doesn't look so difficult, and it's got lots of room for error. You know, if it's not perfect, oh well. So look at that. So I got one more little vine to do. Tendril, I should say. I don't like where it's positioned though, so I'm going to change that. There we go. So, I think at $425 it would come with the original piece. Oh my goodness, it's a bit steep. So, look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love this. Now, one of the things that I really like, I used to see it all the time in back in the early 90s when, you know, the cutesy country thing was really, really popular. You saw this a lot. You saw little dip dots. I still like dip dots. Dip dots are awesome. Little dip dots tucked in of little bright colors, like little clusters of little berries. I still like doing that because I think those little clusters just bring something to it, as long as there's not too many. So I just dipped the tip of my brush into a little country red, and again into a little bit of that tea berry, and I just put a little collection of 3 little berries tucked in, just to add a little extra color, you know. I think it just adds a nice little touch to things. So I'm going to set that one aside and let it dry, and we're going to finish out this one. I'm going to use, again, I'm going to use that margarita green on the edges of these leaves, just because it needs that lighter green. Just like so. And again, it doesn't have to be on directly on the edge of the leaf. It can go off, it can come back on. It doesn't matter. Little center vein. To me, these things just add a little softness to what can otherwise look, you know, pretty hard-edged at times. That's why I like that softer outline. I like those little details. They just make things a little softer, a little more delicate looking. So there we go. I have one more leaf to do. This one here. Whoops. Didn't have any paint on the brush. There we are. And again, I'm going to use the end of my brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of that country red on the end of my brush. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of tea berry with it. And I'll tuck 3 little berries together. Usually down near a leaf or on the vine. I just think that that little bit just makes a nice little contrast. Just adds a little something. Look how pretty. So I'm going to dry that really well because it's me. And then we're going to do a little bit of lettering. Now you can use, as I said, you could use a Sharpie if you want to. You can use a Posca paint pen if you want to. You can use a liner brush if you want to. However you want to handle these, the lettering in this, it's all going to work. You've already done the bulk of the work for this, so you don't really have to panic too much. So I've got, my favorites are these. These are the 0.7 millimeter Posca pens. These are my faves. I love these. But you could use an Identa pen. You can do all sorts of fun things using whatever you have on hand. You don't need to have. The chickens are on the website. They're on the Canadian website under surfaces. Yeah. You can also order some from Deb at paintingwithdeb.com, Deanna. If you want them a little closer to home, she has them on her site as well. Because she only ships to Canada, so if you want to get them from Deb, you can get them. So I've got a black Sharpie, my black Posca pen, and I'm going to trace my lettering, Home Sweet Home, on this one. I like this font because it looks just like, well, it looks like my handwriting. And I like this because it just seems appropriate. For this style, if you know what I mean. It's a pretty and easy to read font, which is important. Sometimes I think I've seen some designs where people simply choose a font that is far too elaborate or difficult to read. No, Sandy doesn't have the chickens. So there's Home Sweet Home. And then we've got T's on for this one. When you visit the East Coast, one of the things you will often hear, come on in, tea's on, or coffee's on. There's always something on, you know. We're a welcoming bunch down here. So there is tea's on. So I'm going to dry both of these really well. And as I said, before I varnish anything, I usually take it into the garage or outside and I spray it with 1 or 2 light coats of Decor matte spray, simply because I use so many different things. I use gel pens, I use paint pens, I use markers, I use stencils, I use acrylic paint, I use all sorts of things. And stamp pads and things like that. So you run the risk of things not being compatible. These don't have eyeballs, no. You run the risk of things not being compatible, and then when you brush on varnish, you'll get ink that smears, or something's going to go sideways. So for me, I like to be a little more proactive about it, and I just varnish it with 1 or 2 light coats, or seal it I should say, with 1 or 2 light coats of DecoArt matte spray, just so everything has one uniform surface. It fixes everything to the surface. Let it dry really well, and then you can varnish it with whatever you like, and you don't have to worry about anything being incompatible, running, or smearing. So that's my recommendations, how I handle varnishing my own pieces. So at this point, I like to have a look. Everything is nice and dry, or it should be at this point. I have a look, take my favorite marker, my favorite eraser. I can't even speak today. And then just go around and clean up any visible graphite lines. I don't like graphite lines. They can ruin a piece so quickly if you forget they're there. So get all the graphite lines off, like so. This is my favorite. I love either the Factus Black 18 eraser from General Pencil, or I use my Tombow black gel erasers, or the mono erasers to remove graphite lines. They do it effectively without leaving polished marks or anything like that on your surface. They clean up graphite lines really nicely. So, final step for these, I'm going to rinse out my favorite fugly brush. Ta-da! And I'm going to use a little bit of black for this part. I'm going to use a little bit of black and a little bit of warm white. So I've got a little bit of black on my fugly brush, and I'm going to just lightly spatter my chicken. Just lightly. I don't want big splatter. It's a very subtle splatter. And I'm going to do the same thing to my blue chicken. Again, subtle. Less is more. And then I'm going to repeat that with a little bit of warm white. And I like warm white because it keeps things from getting too dark and too heavy visually. So a little bit of warm white. This ages things nicely. And again, you can use as much or as little of this as you like. That depends entirely on you. It's up to you. We just have one little step to do after this. There's that little bit of white. I love it. It's country. You can't have country stuff without spatter. So I'm going to dry this really well. Then I'm going to show you how to install the stands on the back of this. You could absolutely put an eye on it if you want to. I'm going to make sure these are good and dry. These are super fun to do. Look at that. They're so stinking cute. So, each one of these chickens is going to come with one of these. This is a little stand. Each one comes with one of these. So we're going to turn this over, face down. Now, I like to paint the back of mine. You can do it before or after, it doesn't matter. Oops. Oh. My bottle of glue is stuck. There we are. Oops. Oh, I've got a mess here. So to mount this, you're going to put a little bit of your favorite craft glue, if you can get it out of the bottle. Oh my goodness. my bottle had a goober on the end of it. There we go. So a little bit of bead of your favorite craft glue back here. I like this one. This is the Art Glitter Designer Designs Clear adhesive. This stuff is awesome. You can find this on Amazon. You can also find it on Kathy McAllister's website. She's the one that got me hooked on this. And you're going to put it glue side down right at the bottom of the chicken. So the bottom of that slot is going to fit right at the bottom of the chicken. Press it firmly into place. Give it a few minutes to set up and dry. And then you can take a bead of glue, little bead inside the slot, and then you've got this little wedge. It slides right in, and then just leave that to dry really well. It's a very stable little stand, acts like a little kickstand for your chicken. Got a chicken with a kickstand. And you do the same thing with your other one. And as I said, you can use whatever stencils you have on hand. You can use the little minis that you get with your free order. We do have a set of minis on the website. So if you want to try it, you cannot go wrong with what you choose. Any pattern is going to work. It's going to be soft and distressed anyway. Just have a little bit of fun with it. You're going to create some really interesting textures and some interesting looks. Customize them any way you want to. You can have so much fun with this. Et voila. Oops. And then you're just going to lay these face down until that glue is completely dry. You can speed it up a little bit if you want to. And there you go. Those little stands are just the answer when they're completely dry. They are anyway. Just leave that in there for a while. Face down. Take my own advice. And that is your Home Sweet Home chickens in any color you like. These are so much fun to do. Unfortunately, you can get carried away. You could paint like a whole hen house full of these little things. They make great little gifts. You can keep the stand separate and allow your friend to install it themselves, or you could do it ahead of time. I just think that these are super cute. They're so much fun. Easy to paint. They make great little gifts for friends and family. And as I said, you can customize them any way you like. Just way too much fun. So I will have the printable up for you this afternoon. It's going to have a couple of other floral options, as well as some other font options and saying options. We'll have that PDF loaded onto both websites, the Canadian and the US site, for this weekend. So you'll be able to download that. Next weekend we're going to be doing a pig, but I won't be here. I'm going to be teaching with the British Association for the Decorative and Folk Arts all next weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm very excited about it. So I will have a video for you of the pig version of this. It's so stinking cute. So I am looking forward to having Renee make sure that that video gets launched on the Saturday, and I will be painting with my friends in the UK. So everybody have a great weekend. Next weekend, it's Mother's Day weekend, so you can go and enjoy. But right now, Renee's got the wheel. Holy smokes.
You got a few.
There's a few names on that wheel. So, we have 3 giveaways today. The packages are loaded for bear. There's all kinds of goodies in there. We have some stuff from Tombow, brushes from Dynasty Brush. There's some goodies from DecoArt, And of course, there's always a little something something in there from both Renee and I. So keep your eyes peeled. And yes, we are going to be doing a sheep as well.
What kind of sheep?
A little black-faced sheep.
Nice.
Yeah. It will be fun. What the heck is that?
What?
Does that say?
Object.
Oh,
OBJ.
okay. Okay, wasn't sure what that was.
It usually means that.
Yes, Gail, I do have these on the site. They're under surfaces.
Pick me, Renee. I'll do my best.
Louise Long doesn't see her name on there. Are you kidding?
You can see it?
He copies the entire list off of the chat. So if you've been chatting, you're on there. Oh my stars.
I'm making sure she's on there. She isn't.
She isn't.
Wow.
Oh, how did that happen? Well, he's going to fix that now. The chickens are sold out. I have more coming, Deanna. I can update the site in a little bit.
Oh, I missed an E. There. You're on there for sure now.
But these chickens are just too stinking cute. I'm going to just quickly go over to the site and go to products. And I will update the site. I have a whole shipment coming, so that just means...
No, I guess I wasn't kidding.
Okay. Okay. Done. Alright, the site's been updated. So... there we go. They will be here Monday. So I've updated the site.
I did.
You hope your name is on there? My site is foggy too. Oh my heavens. Gay Reynolds. Well, we want to make sure everybody's on there. Carrie Henderson, I think I'm pretty sure I saw your name on there. Yep.
JL. I'm pretty sure I got JL on there.
Yep.
I don't.
How in heck? Just JEL. There we go.
There.
Okay, shuffled. And now we're going to spin. Facebook is acting funny. Huh. Carol Colbert. Yeah, you're on there, my dear. I just saw your name.
Reading.
Debbie's East's body is crossed. Okay. Nelda Sanders wins the first one.
Yeah.
We have some really pretty art bags in there. They're a reusable shopping bag, and the whole thing looks like a painting. They're beautiful. So, Bernie Mac, you're on there too, my dear.
Number 2.
And Vicky, you're there. Jolene Tripp Stevens. Jolene, I haven't seen you on here in ages. Nice to have you. Good grief. grief, everybody's here. Awesome sauce. Oh, we try not to forget anybody. And the last one is going to Kathy McAllister. Awesome. Our wheel of names had over 300 names on it, so it's a little tight.
Oh no, there's not over 300.
Was it three? Oh, I thought it said 300 and some.
No, it's just under 200.
Okay, that's still a lot. So it's still a lot.
There we go. Kathy McAllister, Jolene Stevens, and Nelda Sanders.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us every Saturday like you do. You won't see me live here next week, but you will have a video. We're going to show you how to paint the pig. We've got a really fun little design for our pig that you're going to love. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then the following week, we've got a sheep. We're going to have a blast. You'll have the whole farmyard by the time we're done. In the meantime, everybody have a great weekend. If you get a chance, get out in the garden or out in the sun and enjoy some of the warm. And if you're here on the East Coast, get out your umbrella and your gum boots. You're going to need them. Everybody have a fabulous weekend. We love you. Stay safe.
They get a kick out of the kissing hands?
The kissing hands and shaking babies?
Yeah.
I still think that's so wrong.
Yeah, it's what we do. Pet your dog!